As you can see, there's a new guard coming in when it comes to fitness, and the whole approach is different than it's ever been. More research and better education have taught us that you can't approach weight training simply by pumping iron until your muscles get bigger. You need to think about how it affects your physiology and your movement. So with all that in mind, the question is there any place left for traditional weightlifting? More specifically, is there any place left for resistance machines? Now, in case you're in the dark at this point, a resistance machine is essentially any piece of equipment that guides you through a workout. They often take up a large proportion of the gym and have more space dedicated to them than free weights, tragically. In most cases, they utilize some kind of pulley system in order to move weights around. You can see them in the background of this picture below the video screens. You sit yourself down on a comfortable seat, you push a metal pin into a rack of weights to set how much you want to use, and then you get lifting. By pushing the handle, pulling the cable, or moving some kind of appendage, a hinge guides you through a very specific range of motion, and this then ensures that you train the target muscle. Now, if you've been paying attention, you should already be able to see what's wrong with this approach. This is the opposite of compound and the opposite of functional. This is even more isolated than a seated dumbbell curl. Your arm is being guided through a specific arc of movement, and there is literally no way that you can deviate from this path. No other muscles are being used other than to brace you in the chair, and you don't even need to balance because you're not standing up. So this is useful, right? Actually, no. For starters, resistance machines, of course, have a place when it comes to teaching beginners to build muscle, as well as helping people who are recovering from injury. If you have a damaged back, then you might not be able to perform pull-ups or squats with a heavy weight. You can use mobility work to recover, but in the meantime, you should look for ways to keep your other muscles strong. By completely isolating your muscles, as you do in a resistance machine, you can completely remove any danger of hurting your back and thereby continue to lift heavy weights. But there's more. You see, if you're someone who is in excellent shape and who wants to perform like Bruce Lee, you can still injure yourself in the gym. In some ways, you're more likely to if you find yourself throwing about your 1 rep max. Without a spotter, lifting a 1 rep max can actually be highly dangerous. I know a guy who fainted while pushing himself to the max on the bench press, and if he hadn't been with a spotter, well, then he'd have crushed himself. So the whole point of a 1 rep max is that you can barely move it, and this isn't really safe to lie underneath, unless you have someone on hand to help. And considering how important 1 rep maxes are for generating real strength, this creates an issue. You can see where I'm going with this, can't you? Because when you use a resistance machine, the weight is being held for you, and thus it's completely safe. If you drop it, it has nowhere to fall, and of course you can easily increase and decrease it even during your sets and reps. This then also means you can perform overcoming isometrics with resistance machines. Just set it to a weight you can't move and heave. This can be used in conjunction with your compound movements at the end of a workout to strengthen your mind-muscle connection and to generally improve your raw strength. Performing overcoming isometrics isn't all you can do with resistance machines though. Another use for them is to vary your tempo. You see, our muscles are actually stronger in one direction than another. More specifically, they're stronger in the eccentric phase of the movement, which is the portion where your muscle lengthens, versus the concentric, which is when the muscle shortens. This is when you lower the weight in most cases. If you're stronger at lowering weights, then surely that means you should lift more during this portion of the movement, right? Well, yes, but not exactly easy with dumbbells. On a resistance machine, though, you can more easily get someone to help you lift a weight you can't move on your own, or you can even use the mechanism itself and then lower it. On a chest press, You can even push out with both hands and then lower with just one hand, effectively doubling the amount of weight you're moving. This is called eccentric overload, and it's an excellent way to really challenge your strength while at the same time combining work for both the fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fiber. Explode up, increase the weight, and then lower through the count of 5.